The recommended wire gauge for a residential sound system depends on several factors, including speaker impedance, amplifier power, and the distance from the amplifier to the speakers. Firstly, consider speaker impedance. Higher impedance speakers, such as 8 ohm speakers, generally require thicker wire than lower impedance speakers, such as 4 ohm speakers. Secondly, amplifier power is important. Higher power amplifiers can handle thicker wire and may even require it to deliver optimal performance. Thirdly, the distance from the amplifier to the speakers plays a role. Longer wire runs require thicker wire to reduce voltage drop, which can affect sound quality. Now let's talk about specific wire gauge recommendations. 14 AWG wire is often recommended for speakers with 8 ohms impedance, low power amplifiers up to 50 watts, and short distances up to 50 feet. 12 AWG wire is recommended for speakers with 4 to 6 ohms impedance, medium power amplifiers up to 100 watts, and distances up to 100 feet. 10 AWG wire is suitable for speakers with 2 to 3 ohms impedance, high power amplifiers over 100 watts, and distances over 100 feet. Here are some tips and procedures for running sound system wiring. 1. Plan the layout. Determine the location of the speakers and the amplifier. This will help you determine the necessary wire length and gauge. 2. Choose appropriate wire. Select the correct wire gauge based on the factors we discussed earlier, including speaker impedance, amplifier power, and distance. 3. Run the wire. Use wire staples or clips to secure the wire to walls or beams. Avoid running the wire over or through metal studs, as this can cause interference. 4. Terminate the wire. Attach the wire to the speakers and the amplifier using speaker terminals or banana plugs. Ensure that the connections are secure and properly insulated. 5. Test the system. Turn on the amplifier and play music to verify that all speakers are working properly. Listen for any distortion or unusual noises. If you encounter any problems, double-check the wiring and connections. Here are some additional resources to help you with your sound system wiring project. The Home Theatre Wiring Guide at crutchfield.com provides comprehensive information on all aspects of home theatre wiring. The Speaker Wire Gauge Calculator at bluejeanscable.com can help you determine the appropriate wire gauge for your specific setup. The YouTube video How to Wire a Home Stereo System offers a visual guide to the wiring process. Remember to always follow safety precautions when working with electrical wiring. If you are not comfortable working with electricity, consult a qualified electrician. By following these guidelines, you can ensure that your residential sound system is properly wired and delivers optimal performance. Always disconnect the power source before starting any wiring project. Use the correct tools for the job, such as wire strippers, crimpers, and screwdrivers. Wear safety glasses to protect your eyes from debris. When running wire through walls, be careful not to damage existing electrical wiring or plumbing. If you are unsure about anything, consult a qualified electrician. It is also beneficial to consult local building codes and regulations regarding electrical wiring. These codes may specify requirements for wire gauge, insulation, and grounding. Ignoring these codes can lead to safety hazards and potential legal issues. Consider using shielded speaker wire in areas where there may be electromagnetic interference, such as near power lines or electronic equipment. Shielded wire can help to reduce noise and improve sound quality. When connecting speaker wire to terminals, ensure that the polarity is correct. The positive terminal on the amplifier should be connected to the positive terminal on the speaker, and the negative terminal on the amplifier should be connected to the negative terminal on the speaker. Reversing the polarity can cause the speakers to be out of phase, resulting in poor sound quality. Label the wires at both ends to make it easier to identify them later. This can be especially helpful if you have multiple speakers or a complex wiring setup. When running wire behind walls or ceilings, use a fish tape to guide the wire through tight spaces. A fish tape is a flexible tool that can be used to pull or push wire through conduit or other enclosed spaces. Avoid creating sharp bends in the speaker wire, as this can damage the wire and reduce its conductivity. Use gentle curves instead. After completing the wiring, test the system thoroughly to ensure that all speakers are working properly and that there are no shorts or other problems. If you encounter any issues, troubleshoot the wiring and connections until the problem is resolved. Periodically inspect the wiring and connections to ensure that they are still in good condition. Over time, wires can become loose or corroded, which can affect sound quality. Tighten any loose connections and replace any damaged wires. When choosing speaker wire, consider the type of insulation. Some types of insulation are more resistant to heat and moisture than others. Choose a type of insulation that is appropriate for the environment in which the wire will be used. If you are running speaker wire outdoors, use direct burial wire that is specifically designed for outdoor use. Direct burial wire is resistant to moisture, sunlight, and other environmental factors. When connecting speaker wire to banana plugs, use a crimping tool to ensure that the connection is secure. A crimping tool will create a tight bond between the wire and the plug, which will improve sound quality and prevent the connection from coming loose. If you are using speaker wire with spade connectors, make sure that the connectors are properly sized for the speaker terminals. Using connectors that are too large or too small can damage the terminals. When running speaker wire through conduit, use a lubricant to make it easier to pull the wire through. A lubricant will reduce friction and prevent the wire from getting damaged. Avoid running speaker wire parallel to power cords or other sources of electromagnetic interference. If you must run speaker wire near power cords, try to keep them as far apart as possible. When terminating speaker wire, strip the insulation carefully to avoid damaging the conductors. Use a wire stripper to remove the insulation without cutting or nicking the wires. If you are using in-wall speakers, make sure that the speaker boxes are properly sealed to prevent air leaks. Air leaks can reduce sound quality and cause the speakers to vibrate. When running speaker wire through a wall, use a wall plate to create a clean and professional-looking finish. A wall plate will also protect the wire from damage. If you are using a multi-channel amplifier, make sure that the speakers are connected to the correct channels. Refer to the amplifier's manual for instructions on how to connect the speakers. When setting up a surround sound system, position the speakers according to the recommendations in the surround sound receiver's manual. Proper speaker placement is essential for creating an immersive surround sound experience. If you are using a subwoofer, experiment with different locations to find the spot where the bass sounds best. The optimal location for a subwoofer will depend on the room's acoustics and the subwoofer's characteristics. When calibrating a surround sound system, use a sound level meter to measure the output of each speaker. Adjust the levels of the speakers until they are all balanced. If you are using a wireless speaker system, make sure that the speakers are properly paired with the receiver or transmitter. Refer to the system's manual for instructions on how to pair the speakers. When troubleshooting a sound system, start by checking the simplest things first, such as the power cord, the speaker connections, and the volume controls. If you are still having problems, consult the system's manual or contact a qualified technician. Remember, safety is paramount when working with electrical wiring. If you are not comfortable working with electricity, consult a qualified electrician.